Hello and welcome to the DJ Force 10 in Conversation podcast, episode 152. And my very special guest on today's show is Guernica Mancini, the frontwoman from the band Thundermother. And they are about to release a brand new album called Heatwave. It is out on AFM Records on the 31st of July this year. And I applaud you to go and check them out. It's an absolute fantastic album. I was privy to a full stream of the whole thing. But there's also a couple of singles out right now, and that was what's got my attention from them. When I got sent some music, I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And then just put the feeler out to see if they wanted to have a chat, and here they are on this show. So loving discovering new bands. This band actually have 3 other albums out as well, so please, if you're interested, go listen to it. If you dig the track they've released for the new album, go back and listen to their previous albums and stuff like that, because they have been going around for a while. This lineup's kind of been going for the last sort of 3-4 years, but it's an absolute solid piece of rock and roll, kind of classic rock and roll blues kind of mixture, which is really cool. Obviously we'll talk about that in the interview, so until then, it'll be up in a minute. I'm just going to give my usual sort of like midweek plea, if you will. If you guys wouldn't mind putting up some reviews or ratings on the various platform services, that would be absolutely fantastic. I actually logged onto a different territory, iTunes, the other day, just to check some stuff. And actually, I found some reviews on my show, which was great. So I want to give a shout out to Jennifer, which was the latest one, because the other one was a few years back. So I don't know if you guys are still listening, but Jennifer, thank you very much. I've only got your first name, but no, awesome words. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And big shout out to you guys on that front. And so if anyone else wants to do that, I am keeping an eye on various places, just to sort of get a general feel, just to help these podcasts get up and keep going. I'm keeping up this momentum. I've managed to secure a couple more interviews for next week. So hopefully, even though I'm going back to work next week, I'll actually have some releases between that to actually do. So that'll be absolutely brilliant. And I think I've got 2 definites, and then I've got to secure 3 others just so I can make up the whole week, if you will. So it's all good. In the meantime, if you guys, like I say, want to leave some reviews or ratings, that would be great. And I think that's everything for me from now. So here is Guernica from Thundermother. Enjoy. I'd like to welcome to my show today, I have the front woman of Thundermother, Guernica Mancini. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hi. Yeah, hello. Absolutely no problem at all. First off, I just want to say I love the album. I was fortunate enough to get a full stream of the new album that's coming out. Called Heatwave, just so I can plug that straight out of the bat. But it's really cool. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a blast recording it, producing it, and just writing the whole album. I'm really happy that it's very close to sharing it with the world, and I'm excited for everyone to hear it because we're very, very proud over it. Excellent.
Yeah, it comes out on the 31st of July. That's the date I've got written here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Again, good stuff. But I really enjoyed it. It's out on AFM Records, and they got quite a plethora of artists on there, which is quite cool. You've got a new single out at the moment called Driving in Style, which is the first track I ever heard of your band, first and foremost. So you kind of got a fan off the bat as well, which is kind of cool.
That's great. Thank you.
But it was a really good sort of like a really good introduction to you, to be honest, because you've got 3 other albums, 4 including this new one, and I hadn't heard of you guys before, just to sort of be level with that, but no, it was a really cool track. I really enjoyed it. How was that? Was that purposefully the first track you wanted to release off the album, because you did a video for it as well?
Yeah, exactly. No, we wanted to release, like we did on the previous album, the self-titled Thundermother album. We wanted the first single to be just a fun party song, and we had a few. considering Into the Mud as well as a single, but we landed on Driving in Style when we did our little voting, and I think it's the perfect introduction for this new album.
Yeah. Totally, it totally was. I mean, it caught my attention, so it works on me, so that's all good. But no, I really enjoyed. There's a couple of other tracks on there I really enjoyed as well. The actual title track as well, Heatwave. Really enjoyed that track. Sleep as well, which kind of changes it up a little bit. You go into sort of ballad mode at that point. That was a really good track. And Somebody Love Me as well was one of my other favorites.
Thank you. Yeah, Somebody Love Me is actually one of my favorites as well.
Oh,
I mean, I love the whole album, obviously, but Somebody Love Me is really special, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely, it was just one that, again, it was like one of those ones that caught my attention as we were listening to the album. Not that the rest of the album was like kind of just on, but it was, there were certain tracks on there that really kind of like stood out, and I was like, I want to talk to these people. So, what I want to do is, if you don't mind, because this is the first I've heard of you guys, I want to get some background information on you. Now, I know you only joined the band in 2017.
Yeah.
And the band have technically been around since 2010, I believe it is.
Yes.
So
absolutely, yeah.
Let's just start from your origin of the band. So, like, how did you get involved with Thundermother?
Well, 2016, I guess. Well, not I guess. What happened was that the previous lineup all, quit the band, and one of the founding members, or the founding member, Filippa, was left alone, and she then didn't want to stop playing. She wanted to continue with the band, so she, contacted people that she knew and liked, and and then I ended up in the band. But I knew Filippa from my previous band, and that's, all the bands that are really active in Sweden, eventually you meet most of them because it's not a huge country,
Yeah.
So we had become friends like a year before or something like that, and had each other on, we exchanged contacts and stuff. And then I was actually having problems with my band at the time. And then I contacted Filippa, not knowing anything about what was going on in her band, in Thundermother then, just asking her for advice because we needed a new bass player. And then while I was asking her, she just mentioned real quick that they were also having problems. And then I jokingly wrote to her that, well, if you ever need a singer, me thinking that the singer would never in a million years quit, obviously, wrote to her jokingly, like, if you ever need a singer, I'll be there tomorrow. And she was kind of like, well, actually, would you be interested in auditioning for the band? And I was like, hells to the yeah. And then, the rest is history.
No, that's really cool, because obviously my minor research I did before this, obviously I looked up yourself, and you've had quite a sort of like career so far in the music industry, as far as being like a vocalist that you are.
Yeah, definitely. It takes time.
No, totally. I was formerly in a band musician type person myself, so I know exactly how how that sort of rolls and how that takes time. But like, you seem to have like you managed. Did you go and was it you studied over in the States?
Yeah, that's right. I studied vocal performance at a school called Musicians Institute in Los Angeles.
That's really cool. I was just like, 'cause obviously getting that kind of like, international exposure as well, like just experience. And your English is very good as well. So,
sorry, what were you saying? Sorry, I just
said your English is very good as well. So I just kind of like, when I saw that, I was like, okay. So you obviously going to the States and everything. It's kind of you work with a few sort of like known producers and things.
Yeah, I was fortunate to meet a lot of cool people over there that are, they're still my friends today. And I grew so much, and I wouldn't be the singer nor performer that I am today if I didn't do that whole, take that journey and go study abroad and so forth. But I'm super happy that I'm here now, and that I'm exactly where I want to be musically in this band, and everything that I've worked towards has always been to be part of a band like this, you know, to work with people that are just as hungry for success, as I am.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's really cool.
Thundermother.
Yeah. And it does show in your music. The music does show a lot of like sort of passion and that kind of spirit of like kind of rock and roll, if you will. Not to sort of give it a sort of like cliche thing, but it's on that hard rock spectrum. But it kind of borders on the sort of like more heavier side of like rock and blues and stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't mind it at all. I think we're very rock and roll, and I mean, we're more than happy to represent rock and roll.
No, that's excellent. That's good, because that's exactly it, and that's what I like. That's what I really liked about your band, because there's like for sort of like female musicians, if you will, it's always been like an extra layer of difficulty to sort of get into this side of the music. But now you've got a lot of bands, you've got a lot of like idols within the rock and metal kind of industry now that are sort of like have fought and won that corner in my eyes. You know, bands,
for sure.
Yeah, like Lizzie Hale and I'm struggling to remember names, but I'm just going to go for the bands themselves, like Nightwish. Arch Enemy.
Oh yeah. But most of the bands that actually are that have been successful with mostly women, as far as I know, have been very much more heavier, like more like metal.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really proud over the fact that we are a classic rock band, and yeah, we might have some like heavier, especially if you see us live, we don't mess around, but it is classic rock. At the end of the day, it's very groovy and blues orient, just like you said. So I'm happy that we, as an all-female band, show the world that we can do it as well. And it's not like, it's not a big deal. No,
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, I've got 3 daughters. So I'm fully sort of like been looking for bands that they can kind of look up to and discover. So like having your music on in the house kind of thing, they like to like, who's this?
Awesome. How old are they?
They are 10, 12 and 16. So
very cool.
A good sort of like age range right there. But no, we're just like looking, because like normally like within the rock industry, it's very heavily male dominated, if you will. But no, finding gems like your band to actually like play and you guys are like talking about like partying, having a good time, as well as like sort of general sort of life experiences and stuff like that. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you for enjoying it, and I'm so happy that you can see that, because as much as we love to have a good time, we also think it's important to have like a real message. It's like it's like a fine line. You don't want to be too serious, but at the same time, you don't want to just sing whatever. Like, especially for me, I'm the one singing this stuff. I mean what I'm saying now, and I mean, it's important to have good lyrics as well as catchy tune,
Yeah, no, totally. So what are your sort of like plans at the moment? Because obviously it's kind of up in the air. I know it's kind of probably a silly question, really, when it comes to like plans and stuff. But obviously you guys, I think you had a tour lined up, didn't you, around this time?
Well, we were going to go, more or less the entire summer was booked. Every weekend. During the summertime, it's festival season, and we were booked every single weekend. So that didn't happen. And now we're trying to be proactive in other ways. We are still releasing the album as planned. So I'm just working. I'm doing a lot of interviews like this one now, and just doing all kinds of like administrative. Like, how does it work? How do you say it in English?
Administrative.
Yeah, that's too hard.
Yeah, I barely got that out. So
you just have to do all the behind the scenes stuff now, and just prepare. And like we're doing it, like in Sweden, you can do gatherings up to 50 people. So we have a few private things booked, just for fun. But I'm hoping that the tour in September will happen as planned.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you do have something later this year, kind of already there. To kind of like potentially go out on. It's really been difficult, like, because when I've been like interviewing people like yourself, like in bands and stuff, that's always a kind of an interesting question, because it's kind of like a lot of them are doing like, obviously a lot of online concerts and stuff like that. A couple of bands are doing like special quarantine covers and things like that, and obviously different countries got different rules on their quarantine. Like you say, in Sweden you can have up to 50 people gather at the moment, whereas like here in England they're still limiting it to 6, I believe, from the same household or something like that, or from 2 households. So it's just really like, it's really interesting because we're living through a time where, well, no one's really been through this before. So
no, I know, but it's crazy. But I think in a way, it's kind of, I know this sounds strange, but it's a good thing that we're all going through this together. Even though I know it's way more relaxed in Sweden than anywhere else in the world, it's still something that we all are. It's happening to everyone.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's super crazy. And we've done some live streams too. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but if anyone that's listening to this, they're still available. I think both like on YouTube or and our Facebook page.
Yeah. No, I have seen them. They're very good. I was about to say you guys have been doing that too. So it's like, no, I was just because obviously, like when I say this, different countries, different rules and stuff. But it's no, it's always been interesting talking to some bands because some bands have like delayed the release of their album and things like that. But some of them have just sort of like managed to keep the momentum going when it comes to like promotion and stuff. Obviously, it helps with interviews like this and sort of general sort of like being online on your social media pages and stuff. But have you learned anything different from being in this sort of situation when it comes to like album preparation and things like that?
No. I mean, no, not really. I think it's more like personal stuff, like dealing with being by yourself and
yeah, there is that.
Not being able to socialize as much as I would love to and stuff like that. But no, I think musically we're still kind of, I mean, obviously we can rehearse and everything is digital. Like we have band meetings every week on Skype and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I'm lucky that I'm neighbors with the guitar player, Filippa. So when we've been feeling good and, you know, we've been able to actually meet up and practice and write songs together. And so,
no, that's really cool. That's really cool. Quite lucky being quite close to them then, isn't it? That's all good. So where would you say your sort of band influences lie for people that haven't like heard you guys before? Obviously I'm going to encourage them to go listen to your music, but what if you could sort of describe or give them sort of an idea of what you sound like? What sort of bands would you throw into that kind of mix?
I usually say that we're like an all-female AC/DC kind of thing. So AC/DC, Airborne, Rose Tattoo, Motorhead, all these bands are like, I mean, have been huge influences for and kind of shaped the DNA of our band. Because when Filippa started the band 10 years ago, that's like her favorite artists and bands, and she really wanted to follow their path, you know, musically. And now that we've, you know, skipped 10 years ahead and we're all of us like different kinds of rock. We all like classic rock. So I think it's become way more bluesy, and my vocals are obviously not that kind of vocal. I can't compare myself to none of those singers. So it definitely has evolved, but it's still, the DNA is very much AC/DC, Motorhead. Okay,
cool. Excellent. Yeah, no, that's a great representation of that. So I've got a couple of questions left for you, Guernica, and these are sort of more centered around yourself rather than the band. They're kind of like your more personal things, but I say more personal. But what I want to find out are your 3 top albums that really were pivotal in your life, as in the ones that made you kind of want to grab the microphone and want to sing, or be in a rock and roll band. What were those albums that really kind of made those sort of impacts on your life?
I think this is such a hard question, but the ones that come to mind is first of all, Purple Rain, Prince. Yep. Because I'm a huge Prince fan, and that's the album that I like. That's the album that made me, you know, find how I found Prince and, you know, discovered his music basically. Yeah. So that album, definitely, I just love everything about it. Obviously Prince, especially not that album, or, you know, most of the albums are very like more electro pop rock, but
Yeah.
I've seen him live, so I have the whole, I think he was very rock and roll in my opinion. The other album that comes to mind is Appetite for Destruction with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, I've liked Guns N' Roses since I was a kid. Like, I know November Rain isn't on that album, but that's just one of those videos and songs that is, I have it on a playlist still to this day, and I just remember watching it on MTV. But Appetite for Destruction, I think every single song on that album is amazing, and it's just such a good album from beginning to end. So to me, that's awesome. And Axl Rose has kind of like, I guess, influence on dance moves and stuff like. There's so many great albums. I feel like obviously I'm gonna mention stuff that's like, I guess it's not current because I feel like it's not current, but not like super old stuff. But I'm thinking an album that definitely inspired me to just, besides Wannabe, Spice Girls stuff. I was a huge Spice Girls fan when I was a kid, but I would say like No Doubt's album, Tragic Kingdom.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good
that
one.
album really, like, I remember my sister got it, and I listened to it a lot, and I just remember really finding Gwen Stefani, like, she was so cool to me. Like, she looked so good, and she was just such a badass, and I hadn't really seen that when I was a kid. So that was like new to me, to see just a girl that was such a cool individual. Yeah. But obviously there's so many more great albums, but that's just a little bit of the like the tip of the iceberg of stuff that I like. Yeah, no,
they're all fantastic albums. Purple Rain by Prince, timeless, absolutely timeless album. Again, Prince, like you say, does a lot of trip up, but no, he is kind of the epitome of rock and roll, I feel. Just the way
absolutely. He's such a badass, great songwriter, great performer. He had everything, and he was so sexual, and he just did everything he wanted. Like, he didn't care, and that's very admirable.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree with that. Appetite for Destruction, again, Guns N' Roses, that album, like you say, from start to finish, from the first song to the last song, that album doesn't give up. No. Like, you could release all those songs as singles, and they'd all do well. You know what I mean? Yeah. And November Rain, like you say, it's not on that album, but November Rain, fantastic. Like the album, like the track, and the video. Again, like Guns N' Roses is one of my favorite bands of all time. So I could talk about them for hours. But yeah, no, like I totally agree with that one. And No Doubt as well. This is a good one, because I've not had No Doubt pop up in any of my questions, like when I've asked this to people. And I've had Prince come up a couple of times. Guns N' Roses, they tend to come up quite a lot, but No Doubt, again, that album was great. Tragic Kingdom, and generally they're sort of, like you say, they're sort of like the punk rock attitude that came along with it. Obviously, I know they had that huge song of Don't Speak, which was very different from the rest of the stuff, but like tracks like Just a Girl and stuff like that kind of really kind of like jumped out as sort of like a punk rock favorite for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, they've got like their early stuff is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, Gwen Stefani's a great frontwoman, so it's just excellent. No, cool, good. That's all good. I love those. That's excellent. So finally, Guernica, what are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not writing and performing for Thundermother, what do you kind of do to sort of like, take your mind off it, or do you have any hobbies, basically?
Well, that's a interesting question, because I'm like constantly trying to find new hobbies, because my hobby was music, and that became my job. So now I'm in a constant search for things to do. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I wouldn't say that's a hobby, but I do. Yeah. The girls know that I like the past birthdays, they've given me like these mindfulness books to when you color in books, coloring books for adults. Yeah. So I do that quite a lot.
That's good.
I want to get into meditation and be all zen, but it's really tricky for me to focus and concentrate a longer period of time and things like that. But I'm very much into like I guess new age stuff. So I'm trying to learn tarot cards. Like I have like decks, and I try to like I'm trying to get into like more of a spiritual side, but it's very like it's very on and off. But I guess that would be the only thing that I could say right now would be like a hobby. Because yeah, I work out, but I would never. I'm not like, I don't live for the gym, nor I take walks in the woods.
Yeah.
So I don't. I'm like the
no,
worst.
that's good. That's all
if you
fine.
have any ideas, I need new hobbies.
Well, I was, as you said, mindfulness. There is an app that I could like for, especially for like short attention spans.
Headspace, you mean?
It might be Headspace. I was just trying to think because I
tried it. I mean, I've tried it, and I really need to get into it because every time I go to I do go to psychics, and I mean, I have I've been to several psychics, mediums, blah blah blah, and they always tell me the same thing, and that I need to start meditating, and I know that that's something that I would probably feel very good doing.
Yeah. But
I think it's like it's baby steps, and then also it's like I'm feeling of these are all excuses for me not being able to get new routines happening, but yeah, I'm hopefully by next time we talk, I'll be really zen.
Oh, here it is. I found it. It's called 10% Happier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write it down. 10% Happier.
Yeah, write that down. And it's something that I've used, and it's kind of like, a few minutes a day. And yeah, no, it's really good. I was just trying to think of the name of it. But yeah, it's called 10% Happier.
That's great. Thank you. I'm gonna download that.
Yeah, do that. And yeah, no, that's all good. I'm glad to help on that front. But Guernica, that's all I've got for you today. And yeah, good luck with the album and everything.
Thank you.
Coming out in about a month and a half now, I think it is, of recording this. Mm-hmm. Cool. Guernica, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It was very nice talking to you.
It was lovely speaking to you. You have a good rest of your day, okay?
You too. Bye.